Hello everybody, welcome to the Friday night live stream, welcome to Fishy Business. Hopefully you can hear me and see me. Still no folk here this week, but we'll get there one day. 7 or 8 years time, we'll finally get around to doing that little tweak. Hopefully I've got my mic on, it looks like I have, everything seems to be green. That's a good start. So, let me know in the chat if you can indeed see me. I know you can hear me clear my throat earlier, thank you Scott. I just need to put on the old GoPro because I am already doing water changes. Let me know if you're doing them as well. So the name of the game is helping Graham do his water changes. I'm multitasking, which never goes well. So I'm relying on you to tell me when I've got a full tank and need to get turning the water off. So, who have we got in this evening? We have... Well, it's only going... Why is that not going far back? I can only go as far back as Hi from Sweden from Hans. Thank you, Hans. I'm sure I saw somebody super chatting before we even started, so thank you for that. I think it was Aquarium Daily. We've got Martin in, Scott's in. Don't forget to tickle the like button, or smash it, indeed. Whatever you want to do. As long as it gets pressed in some way. Lee's here. I realise I'm not actually showing you these comments, so give me a second. How do we do that? We press this button here, we do this, we do that, and we do that. And there we go, we've got comments back again. Evening Fishy friends, says Simon. Evening Simon. Kaylee's in. Gary has already tickled the like button, thank you sir. Mark is in. The Fish Vet, loud and clear, thank you very much. Mark Sterlson, Russell Jones, Silver Surfer, Only Oscars, that's a new name, I've not seen that before. Are you filling or draining this one? I was filling that one, I'm now going to go and drain the one next to it, so I'll move you over a little bit so you can see. There it is. Oh dear, just spilled water everywhere. I'm really quite liking this. It's a very efficient use of my time to do the live streams and the water streams at the same time. So I'm using my homemade water changing DIY Python. So let me know in the comments what we're going to talk about tonight. What are you interested in? I went to the auction at the weekend. That was interesting. That's very precariously balanced. I don't know if that's going to stay there, but we'll see. Went to the auction at the weekend. Picked up some new fish, so we'll show you all the new fish that we got. Some I was really quite happy with. Thought they were great deals. But yeah, you might have seen my video about the auction, but we can talk about that a little bit. And plans for the weekend. So as well as me telling you what my plans are, what are your plans? And of course, weird beers. We might be going a little less weird this time, because I'm fed up drinking minging beer, basically. Alright, that'll do it, it's about halfway. And of course, any questions you can think of, we'll get back to them as well. So I'm wanting the water to get to about the same level. Then you can tell me when I need to change it. Right, let's go back to the main. So we're now filling this one. I've gone all extra and I've got a cool bag for this week. So what have we got today? We've got the old Franny Canny back in action. Quite like that one from the last time, so we're going to have another one of them. Another, as I like that one quite well, maybe it's the white beers or the Weiss beers that I like. So we've gone for this one, which I can't really pronounce. Hefe Weiss beer. Y-hinge stiffener. So we'll give that one a go. That's quite good. As well as that. Oh. Sure, I had another one. So, going for this Blue Moon, a Belgian white, and of course glass, just to keep everybody happy that I'm not drinking out the bottle. Where I'm sure I bought 4. Right, we'll start with the small one, I think. Put these ones back in the cooler. And then we'll deal with some questions as soon as I find something that can open a bottle. Cheers all. This is where we get into the professional reviewing section of the evening. The nose, as I believe you refer to it, I'm going to go with Not Mingen. This is a Belgian white. I kind of like the white beers. I remember in my younger days drinking things like Hoegaarden and all that kind of nonsense. That being quite reasonable. So 5.4% alcohol. A wheat beer, white beer, Belgian style wheat ale. There you go. Fairly inoffensive to the nose. Fairly inoffensive to the palate. Almost tasteless, one would say, but that's kind of the things I like. It's definitely beer. You can taste it's beer. Yeah, not doing too bad. Anyway, let's get back and see where we were up to. Only Oscars. Paul Bolton. Hello everyone, hope you're keeping well. This is my first time with the Aquarium Adventures Friday Night Live. Well, maybe I should have explained myself. Friday Night Live has turned into a bit of a social club where through the week I'll take suggestions on the Discord server. If I had all my fancy buttons I could press those. We're in the fish room rather than my office. But join the Discord server, that link will no doubt be posted any second now down in the chat. You can suggest some beers to try out, because I have a very unrefined palate it turns out, and I only like, for want of a better word, piss water beer. So we're trying some craft beers, some craft ales, see if we can get our palate up a little bit while we do water changes and show off some new fish, some new things, anything that's going on in the fish room, and generally hang out, answer questions, ask questions. Mostly you asking me questions. It's very hard to get replies the other way. And generally catch up. So it's not a serious, super duper expert review of any kind of fish or species overview. It's just generally hanging out. So welcome. Click that subscribe button. Anyone else that's new here, click that subscribe button. I've decided my goal for the year is to get to 15,000. It means nothing, but you know, you have to have a goal, otherwise why not? So I'm trying to get to 15,000 subscribers. I'm about 700 away. No idea whether we'll make it or not, but hey, let's try. QC Aquaholics is going to be listening while troubleshooting my fridge freezer. Oh dear. As a IT professional, have you tried turning it off and back on again? I also used to deliver fridges and freezers, and that was often the fix for them too. It's exactly why I love bare bottom tanks, I guess. Easy to clean and at least easier. Easier, indeed. Did I get any feedback from the video from my organisers? No, there you go. There's a question. No, not directly. I did get a couple of messages saying, "Ooh, pardon me, I don't think you should have made that video, that's a bit disrespectful." I don't think I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. If anything, yes, I was critical, but... So, for those of you that don't know, I visited a fish auction last week, and it was less than fantastic. But what I want to be very clear in saying is that it wasn't bad, it wasn't terrible, it was hugely annoying, but I'm a hugely annoying person, or I'm an easily annoyed person. I felt it could be run a bit smoother and a bit faster, but it's being run by volunteers who are willing to give up their time and give up basically their entire day to book in lots, try and sell lots to an increasingly disinterested audience. So I don't want to make it like, oh god, it was the worst thing I've ever done. I could do it so much better. I probably could do it so much better, but I'm also not offering to do it so much better, so I kind of have to put up with what we've got. So they didn't do a bad job, they just could have done a better job, I guess, is the bit that I was trying to convey in the video. And at the same time, if they don't like it, make it better, or disregard my comments, or have a chat with me, or whatever. My USP, or for unique selling point for this channel, has always been I'm going to be as honest as possible and give feedback, whether it's a product review, a fish review, a shop review, a channel review, whatever it is that I'm talking about. I'm trying to be as honest as possible, otherwise what is the point if I'm just going to blow smoke up everybody's bum? Yeah, kind of lose any credibility immediately. So if things are good, I will say things are good. If things are bad, I'll say things are bad. I'll try and be fair, and I hope I was fair in that last video to say a few things, some of them which were in no way under the control of the organisers, ripped my knitting, as they say where I come from. But a lot of the things were good, and there was good bargains to be had. It is what it is. So I haven't had any feedback from anyone officially affiliated with the club, and I hope that I wouldn't get anything negative back from them, because I'll probably go to the next one. So there you go. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more. This is the specifics of the things that ripped my knitting, because it was infuriating. Big question, what beer's out? We've done the beers. Big Dog 35, how much is your Discus? Go for I'm in... What? Go for I'm in CA. Is that like YMCA in code? How much is your Discus? How much... Well, the ones on the right of the screen that you can see on the tank that's being filled as we speak, completely free. They were gifted to me by one of my subscribers, Dan from over in Warrington. So you can check out that video. Go and have a look at my videos. A few videos back, you'll see free Discus. That's that one if you want to learn more about that. The ones on the left were from Corbin Discus, which is no more, and they vary in price. Not cheap. Well, let's put it that way. Plum Porters. Oh, that's the drink. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Very good. Lee Kinsey, I have a question. Is Megatank fixed? We'll come on to that in a little while. Hans he's doing his own version of multitasking, installing a new bed. How do you install a new bed? That sounds more interesting than just buying a new bed. Or is it putting together like an IKEA bed where you have to build it yourself? That's what you The shipping would be more than the fish. Oh, you're trying to buy my fish? I thought you meant how much did I pay for them. Yeah, they're not for sale. They're about to go into my Discus display tank upstairs in the main house. So I'm in my fish room in the garage at the moment, sweating my tits off because it's bloody. This is the warmest room in the house. But this weekend's job, so my weekend's job, is to fix my custom Discus display tank that I smashed about a year ago. So that's getting done this weekend. So no doubt a video on that. And then once I get that up and running and find some supplies for plants and things like that, I'm a bit torn as to how I'm going to decorate this tank or aquascape this tank. I was hoping to use the option that we went to buy a load of plants and fish to stock the tank along with the Discus to complement them. But I'm leaning more and more to breaking down the subscriber tank, which is full of Congo tetras, and having them as the dither fish, if you like. A fish that has gone along with Discus very successfully many times. I'm a little bit worried about it because they're like little mini piranhas that might outcompete the Discus for food, but my Discus are no shrinking violets either, so I don't know. A decent beer selection, says the Fish Vet. Praise indeed, thank you very much. Kaylee's on the plum porters as well for the evening. Tastes more like coffee than fruity to my novice palate. I think me and you, Kaylee, were in the same boat. Things that, there was some, I went to the shops earlier with my daughter and she picked most of these. I said, I'm having this one because I know I like it, and then you can pick the rest of them. And she was very considerate in picking things in the same family. But what is it with people that make beer these days? One of them was like, oh yes, this is a lovely light IPA with guava juice. Why are you putting guava juice in beer? Or coffee, chocolate, and what was it was coffee, chocolate and banana, I think was one of them. And I was a bit like, in what world did all those things go together? And they weren't even the weirdest ones, so I don't know. We might be bringing weird beers to a close and move on to weird wines, or normal beers, or shocking spirits, or oh god, this theme could run and run. We'll see. Red Laser, lots of new names. So welcome everyone. Welcome everyone who's new. I hope I haven't put you off already with my rambling. Let's see if we can catch up. Blue Moon, you need a slice of orange. Is that a thing? That would probably go quite well with this, actually. It does have a fresh, fruity... It's very neutral. It's very... meh. Not inoffensive, but not inoffensive in some of the ways the IPAs and things were not inoffensive, as in the, I can tolerate this. I could happily sit and drink this for hours. It doesn't really have... It has mouth feel, but it doesn't really have a taste. Does that make sense? I don't know. Question Waters, we can't see it, I'm on full screen, right, yet I've sorted that out. Any banana or bubblegum flavours coming through in the beer? No. No. I can't identify any flavour. Maybe that's what it is. Simon has re-upped on his water change. Or has he become a member? No, he's re-upped his membership. And says, member! Water! Yep, we're fine. We can see it now. I'm checking. Blue Moon, if I remember correctly, is an American take on Belgian wheat beer. Should be orange and coriander notes compared to German beers, which are closer to banana and clove. Or something. Shall we read some of the bump? Brewed with orange peel for a refreshing citrus taste. Maybe that's why I think it'd go with orange, because I can maybe subconsciously smell some of the orange, or taste some of the orange. Brewed in the UK by Molson Coors Brewing Company. Oh, okay. I don't know if I said that like it's a bad thing. What strength is this before I start blabbing nonsense? Ah, it's only 5.4. So not too bad. But yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend. This is going up there, Franny Canny, Franny Cranny. I can speak, honest. As, yeah, might buy that again. Happily drink this. Me which you is! Like that your your Friday Night Live is in your fish room. Yes, me too. I'm quite enjoying the whole ability to multitask and get you to help me and not flood the place. Manuel, is putting a garden plant that can grow with roots submerged in the sump a good idea? Can it have parasites or anything even after I clean it? Well, so I'll answer the first part of that question is it a good idea? I think it is. So I've always been happy to, you might see some of my tanks over there that have some pothos sticking out. I've got several bunches of that all over the place. For a few years now I've used terrestrial plants that do well in the water to suck out extra nitrates. So I'm a big fan of that. I think it's a great idea. It can be hard to get them to grow in the sump, purely because your sump is usually enclosed and it's in a cupboard or it's closed off. But if you can get it to work, then yeah, no reason. Can it have parasites or anything like that even after I clean it? Yes, it can. But any plant can have parasites. It's one of the fish keepers', well, some fish keepers' biggest irk is that anytime they buy plants, they end up getting a load of pest snails, which is technically a parasite. But yeah, it can have anything. Whether the risk is worth it to you, you can always do like hydrogen peroxide dips and or potassium permanganate dips and things like that, or even bleach dips, as I know some people do, to try and go like cleaning extra. But yeah, it's a good idea. Tell them to buck up their ideas if they're going to mow. And what you said, things I worry about. The idea of watching people walk out of that auction with everything cheap makes my skin crawl. Yeah, that was quite annoying. It was more the... So I'll come back to that in a minute. Let me see if I can get down to the bottom. How many Discus can you have in a 100-gallon tank with a sump and an FX4? There's a range of answers there. So a 100-gallon tank, that's a fairly decent sized tank. What's 100 gallon in proper money? 100 gallons to litres. That's 454 litres. Well, that's an imperial gallon, but God, I always get this wrong. US liquid gallons, 378.541 litres. So that's a decent size. You can get a decent number in there. So the reason I'm saying things like decent numbers rather than 17 is because it depends what you do with that. If that's a planted tank, if that's got a load of other fish in there. An FX4 is the filtration, so often one of the variables is how much are you filtering, but how often are you doing water changes. All those things are considerations, but 354 is enough to get a good sized group. If I throw a number out there, it'll just make people say, that guy said 10 and that's wrong, it's 15. Or, I'm not a fan of these, 50 litres per Discus and then 20 for every extra one type of thing, but 350 litres I'd be happy with a dozen. That's probably a good number. That leaves me some room for some aquascaping, some dither fish, some bits and bobs. It's a good enough number to make an impact on a that tank, a tank that size, without pushing it and making sure you need to keep on top of water quality. I am aware my water is creeping up. I can see it behind me, but hope that helps. Returning to the hobby, Paul, do you keep messaging me this same question? And somebody almost every day this week has asked me what my racking is. My racking is Big Doug Racking. So if you go onto the Big Doug website, there's all kinds of different ones that have different weight ratings, different sizes, obviously, heights, widths, all that kind of jargon. I use Big Doug because I've used Big Doug, BIGDUG, Big Doug, for so long. It's never gone wrong with me and I've been very happy with it, but there are other equally sturdy racking companies out there, not affiliated with them in any way, unless they follow through with their offer to sponsor one of my videos. So, take your choice. I've never had a problem with Big Doug, so I'm happy to recommend it. My room's super small and I need somewhere to store stuff, so I mounted the bed on the wall. Ah, hence installing bed. Okay, that makes sense now. Question water, says Scott. I saw that at the bottom. Yep, I think we're about there. So, what can I show you first of the new fish? Let me move the beer out the way. I'll go back onto my face. Oh, you can just about see my favourite purchase I got from the auction, so I'll show you that one. Any guesses in the comment as to what fish we're about to show you? Oh, the little bastard's just moved out of the way. It heard me. Right, hopefully this will work. You can just about see the tail that's just disappeared. I think she said, he's going to film me soon, I'm going to get out of the way. So we'll see whether that comes out. This is my Queen Arabesque Pleco, which was one of the better deals at the auction. Skiller says, I've had Congos with my Discus. I found they were too large and took the eye off the Discus, if that makes sense. It does. It does, but it's quite a big... I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I haven't decided. I did want to keep Congos with my Tetras. Congos with my Tetras? Jesus. I did want to keep Congos with my Discus before, but the Congos that I got were a bit rubbish. Whereas I've got a decent sized group of Congos and they seem to interact and colour up really well, so I think I get what you mean by distracting because they look pretty cool as well, but we'll see. It might be something I just try. Muscle beer for the win, says Fish Vet. No chance. I'm not having that at all. Welsh Weeks is in. Evening. I'll have to catch up with my streams if we're trying Shocking Spirits. Ross in from Edinburgh, the cam after this. I know exactly how you mean. It was a bit wild down here as well. Jack says, how are the lights have gone out? Alexa, turn on the fish room lights. How are the fish getting on from the auction? Or how are the fish from the auction getting on? So far, so good. Yeah, everything's doing really well. He says just having a quick scan round to make sure nothing's floating. But yeah, you're looking at one of them now. So we've got the Queen Arabesque. We've got a load of new shrimp. I got some new endlers, which haven't died so far, but yeah, looked a bit thin when I got to see them up close. A load of Zebradanios that I was planning to put in with Professor Burblehead, my daughter's Aranda. But I need to see how nippy they turn out to be, or whether they're a little bit calmer. But yeah, we'll see. We got, what else did we get? I think that was it in the end, wasn't it? It seems a bit pathetic now for sitting there for 6 hours or however long it took. Oh, we got a couple of bristle noses, a super red bristle nose. Oh, we got a few dwarf neon rainbow fish, which again, another one I'm considering putting in with the Discus if I can find a compatible temperature. So I've already had a decent sized group of dwarf neons, which I've been slowly raising the temperature over. Well, that's not entirely true. I raised the temperature months and months and months ago, and I've been just seeing whether they can stick to it or not. So these ones over here are kind of I was keeping them at 28. They seem to have gone a bit colder, so I don't know if the heater's gubbed in that one. So they're another fish that I might move into the Discus tank instead of the Congos. We'll see how we go. But yeah, all of them are doing well. Still alive, still full complement of all of them. So far you're getting to see the Queen Arabesque Pleco's tail rather than anything else. How are the sacrificial discus doing? They're doing fine. I just today moved them back into their tanks. No problems whatsoever. They were in there just over a week, so I'm happy that everything's going to be fine. Hello, Graham in chat says Zen Ginger, homeschooling today, taking a quick break to come say hi. Hello! I keep forgetting that I'm sitting here quaffing my beers while other people are still in the middle of their workday. Coming to visit and see what kind of trouble you're getting in. They're even very well behaved. As a Scot, I can't believe we've not seen you drink classic Innocent Gun original proper good beer and an amalgamation of beer, lager and whiskey. I am a fan of the Innocent Guns, but I wasn't put off them. When I found out they were just basically fancy Tennants, I was a bit like, might as well just drink Tennants then. But yeah, I'm a fan of the. Maybe we'll do like, oh, that's a good one. We could do themed beers, so like beers from Scotland, beers from England, beers from Belgium, beers from. Put that in the brain farm. James Kirk. You've changed. What happened to 12 cans of Stella and a game of darts on Friday? Well, since my so-called friends no longer want to see me anymore, I'm forced to come on the internet and drink beer with internet weirdos. So I'm trying to expand my palate to get away from Stella, Carling, and I'd never drink Foster's, but you know what I mean. It's not going well. We're on week 5 of me drinking fancy beers, Jim, and I'm just not getting it. But thank you for stopping by. Please hit subscribe. And let's get out and go and have a game of darts and see if we can remind each other what we look like. Evening from sunny Oswego, says Christine. Have you moved? Is that where you've always lived? Okay. Water, yep, we've done water. I assume Big Doug and Rapid Rack, yeah, they're almost identical, yeah. I think you'll show the new guppies. Well, how wrong were you? Shall I show you the new guppies? They're only 2 tanks along. There's a pile of crap on the floor, so this might take a minute. Bear with me, audience. So there's the new guppies. They are the El Tigre Endlers. Maybe I'll just move my mug out the way. Oh, no, wrong one. Move my mug out the way. So I did get a message from someone saying, oh, looks like they might have worms. They were very skinny, yes. I haven't seen any evidence of worms, but then again, if they're internal ones, I might not see any evidence. So I'm giving them a chance before trying to medicate them. I like to give, unless it's blatantly obvious, and maybe it is blatantly obvious and I'm just missing it. So I did mean to respond to that comment, but I completely forgot about it. Maybe it is blatantly obvious and I'm missing it, but if it isn't blatantly obvious, I like to give the fish the chance to recover with some good fresh water changes, good diet, feed them regularly. And they seem to be doing okay, and I haven't seen any floaters yet. In fact, we'll give them a wee pinch of flake. And my eyes might be deceiving me, but I think they're starting to fatten up a little bit. Ooh. Well, it's a creeping plant that you want to put in your sump. The idea is that it will grow to cover the sump in a way that will still allow me to open the cover to work on the filters. But if it works, it works. ABC Aquatic Biotope Creations. What does the ABC stand for? So got us onto the banana bread. Banana bread? That's it. Banana bread beer. No. Banana bread or beer. Or drink beer and have banana bread. Why do you need to combine the two things? This is weird. Steiner Wallaker. I've not seen that name for a while. Welcome again. How are you? See, people posting now that they enjoy these weird concoctions. It's not helping. I'm going to have to... Oh, apparently I disconnected. Am I back again? Who knows? Sump system with also like a steel frame cabinet, best for that size, around 850. I don't have any experience with them. Sorry, never heard of them. Fish Vet resents the internet weirdo. I'm a colourful computer person. I'm an internet weirdo. So I mean no offence by that. You're all internet weirdos to me. I'm an internet weirdo to you. Unless I've met you in person, and then you might just be a plain old weirdo. Big fan of Innocent Gun. A mate of mine calls it Tory Tenants. I've heard that before. Right, man down. Let's try the next one. Give it a swill out. If there's another fish you want to see next, let me know. Well, I dig out what we have. Might as well try the other new one, shall we? So this is Weihenstephaner. 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 No idea how to say it. Got myself with that one. Oh, looks good. In that it doesn't smell freaking disgusting as soon as I opened it. Nice pale colour, that's what we like to see. This might be actually nice as well. Who knows, I might wake up tomorrow with my tummy not in turmoil after drinking actually nice things. Do you like my technique as well? I'm getting better at this without the massive heat. Put it up there so you can see it. Cheers everyone. That's the colour we've got. Quite cloudy. A few floaters. I don't know if that's me. Much more distinct taste to this one. So this is a Hefeweißbier Bavarian style premium Bavaricum. The world's oldest brewery apparently, since 1040. So whoever it was that was on here talking about mead a few weeks ago, these are the first guys to do it professionally, I guess. Again, 5.4%, so not horrendously. Store that, keep cool, do not shake. No hints of orange, some banana, black pudding. Hell of nonsense. Nothing wrong with it so far. Right, where do we get to? ABC finally bottled. Speak of the devil, finally bottled some of my homemade mead. It was bloody delicious. DM Aquatics, what plecos do you have apart from the L260? None. I only have Ancestris. So we have some plain old brown Ancestris. I noticed the guys, one of the other things about the auction was there was some very flowery naming of things. So, alright, yeah, calicos, lemons, albinos, all these things to describe various types of Ancestris. And at a stretch, you'd be like, yeah, alright then. But there was a lot of, oh, these are peppermint plecos, peppermint Ancestris. And you're like, no, that's just a brown one. It just happens to have a few spots. You're taking the piss with that one. But no, my pleco collection is sorely lacking. So the Queen Ancestris is the first fancy one that I've got for a long time. In the past I've had a golden nugget, I've had some actual peppermint plecos. But I've never really had that many. I'm hoping to get more into it. In fact, I had a message the other day from someone whose name I now forget, but they're the message is to be remembered. Where is it? I'm sure I'll find it here. I want to say a couple of brothers. What did they say? Phantom Aquatics in New York sent me a message the other day saying, I love your videos, etc, etc. We've just started a green and blue a green and blue phantom pleco project and would love to send you some when we eventually get some fry. All sorts of blah blah blah. So Phantom Aquatics in New York, they're on Facebook. Go and follow along if you want to see something that I might be getting involved with later. Because they're only in New York, it's not that far away. I might even go and visit them one day. But as much as I appreciate all these offers coming out of the woodwork for people to give me fish for free, you don't need to do that. It's very much appreciated. But you don't have to. But keep it up. Right, sorry, let me see if I can catch up with some of these. QC Aquaholic agreeing with me with some proper, actual, sensible things to say. Banana does not belong in beer. Skipping all over the place. Come on, computer, play the game. I saw a tank online, Arandas and Discus together, did a bit of research, and Arandas are bred in warmer climates, will tolerate Discus temps. Interesting site. It's actually a fairly common thing. It's not fairly common, but ever since I've got into Discus, there's always been people who have kept Discus with their various types of goldfish, whether it's ranchos or Arandas. It's quite an old practice that, in fact, I did a video about this a while ago. It's quite an old practice where they'll use the goldfish. In many ways, it's partly as like a canary situation, that if something goes wrong, the goldfish will get it first or start telling us about it first. It's partly as a clean-up fish, for want of a better term, because the intestinal tract is so much shorter. They will actually eat the poo of the discus and reprocess it. Well, there's loads of reasons. So again, go and search on my channel and you'll see how many people have done it, and everyone always chimes in, or someone always chimes in saying, well, goldfish are a cold water fish. No, goldfish can tolerate a huge range of temperatures. It's just that they can tolerate cold water, so they can also tolerate quite warm water. So I think there was one of the ones, there was a guy called, what was his fish was called something like Tony the Ryukin, or Tony the Aranda, and it was something like 35 years old, and it'd been living with discus that whole time. So it's definitely possible, and a fairly common practice at one time. Floaters, right, I've seen a few comments about the floaters. I don't know if it's like a bit of sediment that got kicked up or something, but it seems to have dissolved now, so don't worry, we're okay. This one, yes, so this one's definitely a bit more pungent. But still, not as nice as the last one, but perfectly fine. Floater sounds like a bad day in the fish room. It does a bit, doesn't it? It's a buyer's market. So yes, all these discussions about fish tanks. Yeah, it's a buyer's market, and people are crazy. People be mental. People on, especially on things like Facebook Marketplace and the various things like that. It's like, oh, 200 litre aquarium. I bought this for £300 5 years ago, and it's barely been used. So I'd like to sell it for £495. You're like, no. And if it's someone that's posting in their group, and loads of people jump in saying, look, that price is ridiculous. If you want to sell it, you need to be looking at this kind of price. If you don't want it, move along. No one needs you to comment negatively on my post. Fine, enjoy that fish tank. It's stinking up your garage for the next forever, because you're never selling it for that price. I just can't believe that. Every now and again, I get a really good deal off one of these, whether it be Facebook Marketplace or whether it be Gumtree or eBay or whatever it might be. But the majority of people are just asking way too much. So small tanks, asking like 30-40 quid, and you're like, no. No, it's just no. So, I saw a video very recently by Serpa Design, where he had gone to IKEA and bought 2 packs or 3 packs of glass shelves that just happened to fit together perfectly to build a fish tank. And going to blatantly rip that off. That's definitely my next video. Well, it's definitely coming soon. So if you see that tank on the end of that rack and the one down the bottom, they're perfectly nice tanks now, but they don't utilise the space perfectly, whereas these IKEA tanks, the IKEA glass tanks that I'm going to build, would maximise the usage of that space. So I'm going to do a few upgrades and fill out some of the spaces in here. And the premise of it was great. It's just, you buy the shelves, there's no cutting glass, there's no weird unknowns, and you don't have to like factor anything into it. It's just buy the stuff, get the silicon, done. I've made my own tanks before, or I've mostly repaired old tanks, or taken tanks apart and put them back together again. But making a tank by going and finding the glass has never been cost effective for me. It's always been cheaper to go and find a decent second-hand one and then just take it apart and put it back together again, so as I know it's good, than building it from scratch. But this is actually going to be pretty cost effective. So yes, I will be blatantly ripping them off. I'll try and put some kind of spin on it so as it justifies blatantly ripping off, but I'm going to try and kit out the remaining space. The remaining? Is that a word? Remaining? That's not a word. The remaining space in the remaining. Oh, 5.4% you say. The remaining space in my fish room I'm going to try and use up with these IKEA shelf tanks. So that'll be coming soon, hopefully. Right, sorry, where do we get to? Yeah, I can imagine people giving up due to energy costs. Yes, I imagine that too. It's not happening yet. I think a lot of people are just shelving their tanks. So I've seen a lot of people saying they're getting rid of their fish, or they're shutting down their tanks, or shutting down their fish room, but not actually selling the tanks. So whether they're just leaving everything dry, waiting for the storm to settle as such. Welsh Week's been looking around at used tanks. There's not many larger quality tanks around. Yeah, because if you're going to spend, I think that's it. So the people who have spent on these tanks know that the return or the second-hand market isn't as buoyant as they would hope it would be. So it might be better to just keep it in storage for when it is more affordable again, rather than sell it and make a loss. Oh, what happened there? Press the button. Sorry, hang on, am I still here? Yeah, I'm still here. Do you remember those hard fake banana sweets when you were a kid? Yes, those minging ones that weren't in any way banana flavoured, but just yellow and banana shaped. That's what banana bread tastes like. Banana bread beer. Ah, I mean, they weren't bad, but can we just keep beer flavoured? Is that so hard? Question, are you doing any water? Am I doing any water? No, we're alright. Maybe we should be doing some water. Shall we do some more water? What else needs changing? I'm kind of up on my water change. I don't think I need to change anything again. What would you like to see? So we've got Oscars, we've got rainbow fish, we've got some fry. They'll be a bit rubbish to see, you can't really see them. We've got some angels. I have moved my angels around, so the angels went all murderous on me. And I saw it, so I didn't even have to question what was going on. So I've moved them out of... They were in this tank. I've moved them over to that tank. So one of the angels just went mental. No, two of them actually, because one of them went mental, and I saw it just hammering down on a couple of the cories. So I had the angels and the Sterbai Corridoris, and it was just going for it. And they've lived together for ever since I've had them, basically. And I was like, what the hell? And then it turned on another angel, and those two were fighting. And even before I could get there, it was I couldn't film it or anything. But even before I could get there, one of the angels had ripped the other one to shreds, basically. So I was getting them out because I had to move the Discus out of that tank, because that was the tank they were quarantining, and then do a water change in there. And I was going to put the angels in there, but by the time I could get them, I lost 2 angels and 3 cories, I think, just because of these 2 murderous ones. I tried to just move the injured ones, but they died pretty much instantly, so it wasn't great. And it was really quite gory, so I didn't think it would make a good video, so I didn't film any of it. But I'm now left with 5 angels. I haven't counted the cories, there's about 8 of them, I think. So that wasn't good. Is crushed coral good for Discus? It is if you have to raise the hardness. If you don't, it doesn't make a big deal. Yeah, crushed coral will raise the pH in Discus like soft water. Yeah, so unless your water's like 5, you don't really need it. I use crushed coral in a few of my tanks, but it's mostly for, I have quite soft water, it's mostly for things like guppies and that kind of thing. I have used it in my Discus tank before, just because I think it gives it a little bit of stability. So my pH is quite low, and it can and does dip under 7, whereas if you get it, a bit of crushed coral in there keeps it steadier, I have noticed. I mean, I don't use a lot, it's a 700 litre tank, and I only ever used 1 little bag of it. I tried cutting glass to make aquarium lids before, failed miserably. Yes, I think if you're going to get into glass, and cutting glass specifically, you need to expect to cock it up several times. I've cut glass a few times. A decent glass cutter made the difference for me, so I had one that I bought off eBay that was quite cheap. And the first few panels that I tried to cut, and it would always be like an old fish tank. I wasn't going out and buying loads of fresh glass, but I would try and make a smaller fish tank out of a large fish tank that the side is smashed in or something like that. And it was like a 50% success rate in my do the same technique, or I thought I was doing the same technique, of scoring the glass, and then when you came to cut it, it would be like, oh, squint, or oh, in my eye, or oh, something's gone wrong. But 50% of the time it'd be fine and do exactly what I wanted. But then I bought a better, which, to be fair, it did look better, and it did sound and feel better when I used it. It visually looked exactly the same, but when I made the cut seemed to be deeper. I'm not sure if it was or not, or if I was just imagining it, because it cost me so much more. But a good cutter, and whether it was just my experience by that point made it a little bit better, or the better tools made it a little bit better, that seemed to make a difference. Could not find the smaller glass in IKEA here in Sweden. Surely not. The home of IKEA, and they're not letting you. Oh dear. Yeah, I had to do some conversions because I was a bit like, oh, this is a brilliant idea. I could kit out my fish room here for so cheap. And obviously, the Serpa Design channel's American, I guess, and all the measurements were different, and it was all different sizes. And I was like, oh no, that's not going to work for me. But there's a combination I think will work in the UK. Or you get to see a video where I buy all this glass and talk confidently about putting it together, and then it doesn't fit, and I go, sorry again. Turns out I am an idiot still. Ooh, bouncing everywhere. How much water change do you need to do for Discus? That's one of those questions. I like to do 50% twice a week. I know people that do much more, and I know people that do much less, and there are successful people in both those camps, as well as unsuccessful people in both those camps. If you want to... God, now the angels are breeding. They're laying eggs. Maybe that's what was going on. If you want to... So the variables here tend to be, if it's young fish, you need to do more water changes because you're feeding more to get the best out of them. If you're trying to grow fish, again, similarly, the more the merrier. You can't hurt by doing more water changes. It's just whether or not you feel you need to. If you just want to keep Discus, just do the minimum amount of water changes and they'll be fine. They just won't grow to their maximum potential. If you're trying to get show fish, then yeah, you're doing 99% water changes every day. If you are just wanting nice fish and you bought them as adults, 25% once a week is probably going to be fine. Angelfish, the greatest misnomer in the hobby, exactly. Cross crawling filter is good to keep your KH at a good level. That's why I was doing that. Specifically, it was the KH that was making my pH jump all over the place. Well, I think that's how it works. Never fully understood water chemistry. Assume you're keeping Scalari. Any experience with the Manacapora angels? No. And well, yes, I am keeping Scalari, and no, I don't have any experience with them. I am keeping Altum angels, I'll have you know. That's what they were sent as. This was one of the... God, it's got to be 3 or 4 years ago now. I'm rubbish at times, I have no idea how... It was a long time ago. Somebody reached out. It was we're starting a new business. We're looking for YouTubers to send some fish. This is our fish list. Do you want any? And they listed Altum angels on it. I was like, yeah, I'll have some of them. Oh, how many do you want? I was like, being cheeky. I was like, oh, if I could have 3, that'd be great. We'll send you 10. I was like, really? And they sent me 10 tiny little things when they arrived. And made a video obviously going, oh, this is... I can't even remember the name of the company now. Predator Aquatics, was it? I can't remember. It might not have been them. I made the video with these tiny little angels going, oh, they've sent me these Altum angels. And then watch them grow up into not Altum angels. They're just basically silver angelfish. In fact, shall we show you them? I've moved them over to this tank now. That's them. They're lovely fish until they went all mental. Isn't the IKEA glass tempered? It is, yes, but you don't need to cut it, so that's fine. Unless you want to drill it, I guess. For Discus, water change at 20% a week. I mean, personally, I would say that was the bare minimum. If tempered glass is the thing that shatters into a million pieces, it is indeed that thing. But if you don't need to drill it, if you don't need to cut it, tempered glass is fine. It's actually stronger, so it's a good thing. Have I made it to the bottom? How's the human performing, says Nightbot. Hopefully alright. DD's Finden, hello DD. Welcome. Let me see if I'm still live, because I saw a worrying message earlier there. Oh no, we appear to be. So, the auction thing. As a quick recap of the video, turned up at like kind of 11:30. The auction was meant to start at 12. And that was the first thing that irked me ever so slightly, was turned up and the guys at the front going, 30 minutes till we kick off, everyone, make sure you get ready, get your seats, there's food, there's drinks, you can do this, you can do that. And 10 minutes later, 20 minutes to go, everyone, we've got 20 minutes to go, if you want to get a drink, get in now. 10 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go. We're starting in 1 minute. 12:15 they started. What was all the messages? Why was I getting constant reminders of how many minutes it was until 12 o'clock for them to then sit in their arse and not do anything until 12:15? 12:10. Sorry everyone, Dave wanted a drink, so he's gone for a coffee. Why is Dave in charge? Like 100 people out here waiting. Anyway, so that was the first thing that irked me. Things that didn't irk me is they have quite a good system where the lots are booked in per person. So person number one's lot number one, person number two's lot number two. They try and put all the members out first, which makes sense, you'd want to do that. And if person number one brings 5 boxes, for instance, they don't just let them sell all those 5 boxes, they do 1 box at a time and then move on to the next person and then come back round again. Which is good, because it seems that every person in the United Kingdom who owned some bristlenose plecos brought them to the auction. So anybody that wanted bristlenose plecos was satisfied within the first 30 minutes of this bloody thing, because there was hundreds of the fakers. So if you were like, you'd brought 10 bristlenose plecos, but you weren't up until the end, there's no chance anyone was buying any of them. So this gives people a little bit more chance to sell some things. What I don't really understand, and not that it's a bad thing, but what I don't really understand is bidding on an item. So you see a fish, and let's say I was willing to pay £5 for it. I bid all the way up to £5. Someone else comes in at £6. Someone else comes in at £7. They bid it up to £15, and then they never tell you this up front as well. Number 2 thing that irked me. So let's say they buy the fish at £15. They immediately say, how many do you want? And the buyer immediately says, I don't know, how many have you got? And they go, 20 bags. And he's like, well, 1. I only want 1 bag. Okay, we'll go down to the next guy. So he's paid £15 for his fish. The next guy was £14.50. How many do you want? 1. I only want 1. Right, okay, so we've got 13 bags left. And then they come to the next buyer, who's me, at a £5, and I'm like, yeah, I'll have all of them. How's that fair? So you win. I mean, I loved it, don't get me wrong. New tactic, just bid £1 on everything and wait for it to fall down and to have 1 million of the fish. So I guess you're bidding to have the chance to buy all the fish at the price you're willing to bid. But I've heard that other auctions do that, where they will, if there's multiples of the fish, and there was always multiples of the fish, if there's multiples of the fish, if you pay £15 for a fish and you only want 1 of them, you take that 1 and the next person says, do you want any at 15? No, next person, do you want any at 15? And that's it. There's none of this going down to £1. Sometimes apparently they cycle them through again and start afresh. So once they've gone round all the lots, they'll come back at it and try again. Again, that might make more sense. But like these zebra Daniels, I totally can't remember how much I paid, but the person who won this auction paid way more than I paid for all my fish. I think I got all my fish for the price they paid for 3, and I got like 15 of them. It just seemed quite unfair. And again, the thing that irked me was, why don't they tell you before you start bidding how many you've got of them? I can think of one reason, that it might be that it might make people try and gamify the bidding, but I don't think they were that intelligent that that's the reason they were trying to avoid, because every single time they'd be like, sold, £3, how many do you want? How many have you got? Every single time. That's every bid went, how many do you want? How many have you got? Why are you asking how many we want before you're telling us how many you've got? It's just the amount of lots that were there. If there was 500 lots and it takes 30 seconds for them to go, how many do you want? And back to go, I don't know, how many have you got? Just tell them, we've got 10, how many do you want? That cuts out 30 seconds of every single lot, which would have saved an hour off the end of the bloody auction. And then every single one, I'm only going to do things that irk me now. If you were at the auction or running the auction in any way, I do apologise. Every single one that went in there, they'd have half the operation was really well run. You could tell, I was quite close to the front, so you could tell the finances were being done well. They were trying to keep track of everything. They were noting down every sale so they could pay all the sellers straight away. They were doing that really well. The runners being the people who then take the people's fish that they've bought, were either brilliant or absolutely terrible. They'd be sat there having a wee chat. Sold! They'd go, oh, right, runner! And they'd be holding up like a bag of angelfish or whatever, saying, and the runner would come up and go, yeah, what? As if, what's your job? You're there to take the fish from the auctioneer to the person that bought the fish. Who bought the fish? If you had been watching, rather than gassing in the back, you would know who to take the fish to, but no, they stand around going, who's this for? And then other people are bidding on the next lot, so they take them the fish, and he's like, no, I'm bidding on that lot, I don't want the fish, and then they miss out on that lot because they were talking to the guy that was trying to bring the fish to someone on the other side of the bloody... It was just carnage sometimes, but sometimes, and there was like two of them that were really good, who were on the ball all the time, watching, yep, straight there, straight out, give them the fish. Every time they opened a lot, they'd have a wee discussion. Oh, what's this? This must be... Is it... Could it be... Could this be a goldfish, I think these are called? I'll just ask. Yeah, okay, is this a goldfish? I've never seen a goldfish before. Is this a goldfish? Maybe we should ask Bob. Bob, is this a goldfish? Turns out it's an Oscar. Who wants an Oscar? And you're like, why are we doing this every time? I mean, there was clear rules about if you're submitting fish, we want a list taped to the lid of the box to say what's in the thing. That's quite unfair. That didn't happen that often. But there was always a little discussion about, oh, look at these are great quality, or is this one a bit dodgy? And it was like a minute, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, every single lot where you're sat there going, oh, it's another bristle nose, just shut up and sell the bloody thing. Or just skip it, because you've tried to sell a bristle nose 1,000 times now and nobody wants them. No new people have come in. People have only left. No one else wants a bristle nose. Combine them. Does anybody want 100 bristle noses? Does anybody want a breeding colony? One bristle nose. Pound. Oh God. The only reason I bought bristle noses because it was doing my head in so much. So there's definitely some lessons to be learned on, one, how to run an auction, but it was how to hold a microphone even. That might be a good one. The amount of times they were like, I think it's a zebra Daniel. It's like it's either killing you or not killing you. Two gentlemen behind me incessantly chatting, giving it to the point where I was like, oh, this is like torture. This is what they do to people in detention camps. They play like Britney Spears to them at 1,000 decibels. This is like the fish keeping equivalent of that, where you get two guys just giving it, I've not seen this in 50 years, and it's never been one of it. I'm like, shut up. So that's nothing to do with the auction. That was just the painfulness of it. He also kept doing things like, right, we've got a fish tank coming up, and he'd be like holding something like this. Here we go, we've got a fish tank. Oh, I'd say this was 5 foot fish tank. And you're like, what? It's a foot, if anything. It's never been 5 foot. 5 foot fish tank. Anyone? This would obviously set off the guys behind me going, that's not 5 foot. Where's your measuring tape? You numpty. And every auction, every lot got far too long to bid on. They would always start ridiculously high, work all the way back down, and then go all the way back up. Just start low, get people going. It's like they've never seen bargain hunt. That's all I can say. So, that in and of itself made it quite painful, but there was also, towards the end, a load of people who were just buying such random stuff. You thought, you have to have 50 fish tanks. If you have 50 fish tanks, I would probably know of you, and they wouldn't be the fish that you'd be keeping. So you're either going to put all those fish into a tank that's not going to go well, and you don't know any better, or you don't care. But the auctioneers also didn't seem to care, where they cared loads about some things. And it was just weird thing, like there was one red-eye spotted puffer. You're like, who's going to buy one? Why one? One is not an appropriate number of red-eye spotted puffer fish to sell. Lots of fish that really, they need to be kept in groups, but they weren't selling groups of them. So somebody's just going to buy one of those fish and keep it in a tank, and it can't be happy unless they happen to have an existing group that they want to add to, which I suspect they do not. But hey, I could be wrong. Anyway, that is my rant. I am going to go to future auctions anyway, because I did get some bargains. I've been told there are some other, a few people who are members of other clubs in and around the same sort of area that I'm in have said, oh, come to our auction, it's much better, it's much different. And I've been to auctions at this club before many times, and it's always been the same. This one was just exceptionally more of the same, more painful. So I don't know. Rant over. Anyway, Cold Water Aquatics. We've got a Brandon in the house. Paul McCarthy's has made it as well. Nice to see you. Have I died a death? Am I still alive? Am I talking to myself? Oh no, I'm still here. Still alive. 57 concurrent viewers, but only 38 likes. 39 likes. Go on, make it 40. Someone, click that button. So that is my experience of going to a fish auction. I'm hoping to go to more. I'm live, just no one's talking. That's fine, you don't need to talk, that's my job. I'm here to waffle on incessantly. We've done the Angelfish, so we have a new fish. Before we go into our final beer, but I've still got half of this one left. We've got some feeding to do. Should we say hello to Humphrey? We've not said hello to Humphrey yet tonight, have we? Bear with me. Humphrey's already had his tank cleaned, as he likes to do. Anytime I clean his tank. He likes to destroy it and take 2 massive poos. So Friday nights I like to give Humphrey a bit of a treat. So we've got a couple of prawns. Then we'll move on from Humphrey to show you as yet unnamed golden song. Sound, song, still don't know how to say that. Just trip over everything. While we're feeding things, I'll just do the discus. Mega tank update. I've seen there. Humphrey then subscribe. Okay, we'll do subscriber tank after this one. Yep. We're all fascinated by your experience at the auction and the impression of the people there. Yeah, the other people that I didn't tell you about was the man I felt most sorry for and most infuriated by. It was a guy who decided to bring 3 kids with him under the age of 5, who just ran rampage throughout the place constantly, and he went from being completely indifferent and I suspect trying to pretend he didn't have anything to do with them, and losing his rag with them completely. But these kids were, who in the right mind would think that they'd be into this? But just again, it went on for freaking ages. They were there kicking drinks over, running round, falling over things, shouting out, rah, 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 rah. Oh God. Nothing against them. I have kids and they would have done exactly the same thing if I had to. Poor bugger. Mega tank update. So, I don't know if you can see it in the background. Mega tank has water in it. I filled Mega Tank last week. You can't really see because the lights on. Does that help? It's only filled to there, but that's just because that's where I happened to fill it to. I did get a small leak on the other side, down in that corner, which you can see is still a little bit damp, but Mega Tank, I think, is good to go. I'm not going to do anything for another week or two, because that bit in the bottom corner, which does look that it's dry to the touch now, but I just think it's just discoloured because that's where the leak was. I think what's happened is, you know, with like barrels and things like that, where the water leaks through immediately, but the longer they have water in it, the wood expands and seals the gap. I think that's what's happened. So it's not ideal, because obviously I don't want the water to come through in the first place, but if it's sealed, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, Mega Tank, hopefully is going to be good to go. So what were people asking for? Subscriber tank next. Right, give us a second. Discus still stuffing their faces. Uah! There we go, sorry about that. Subscriber tank, as you can see, needs a little bit of a clean up. Amazon Research Centre for Ornamental Fishes, welcome! Discus! I know, and I've just taken them off that, I'm so sorry. You can go back to the discus in a minute if you want. So, what I've got here is my, oh, just tripped over the thing, is my little concoction of soup. We've got a mixture of bloodworm and cyclops, which I like to go around and give some of the smaller. Friday night's my treat night. If I'm going to have a couple of beers, I'm going to give the fish a little bit of a treat as well. And this is what I mean about them being ravenous eaters. They just destroy it constantly. Anything. Put my finger in there, they'll have my finger off. So this tank was the subscriber tank. This was when we used to play games on a Friday night. We chose the best fish, we chose how we wanted the tank to look, and this is what we ended up with. Almost all the plants died, but I kind of like it as a hardscape, if nothing else. We've got Alestes tetras, we've got Congo tetras, we've got some butterfly fish, which never seem to do much. I'm a bit unimpressed with the butterfly fish. But yeah. Really like the look of the tank. It's always busy. That's one of the things I like about it is, and why I'm possibly considering the Congo tetras to go in with my discus tank when I get that set back up. They don't stop. Discus will quite happily stay in the same position and never move and be like, I like this spot, so I'm going to stay here, and you're going to enjoy watching me, or nothing. I don't care. Whereas the Congos are always which I don't think will put off the discus. As someone said earlier, it might distract from it a little bit, but still, they are an awesome fish. Oh, I keep kicking the stand, sorry about that. Right, where do we get to? Arkoff, that's much easier. Amazon Research on Ornamental Fishes. Dr. Anthony, is it? Or someone, I think I saw that name there. Welcome. Water damage. Also, on Mega Tank, one of the things, the reason from last week that I left it open when it was still a little bit leaky, I left it full rather, when it was still a little bit leaky, is I was trying to see if I could trace the leak. So I can get all the way underneath Mega Tank, I can get round the sides, under there with a torch. There are zero other bits of water damage. I can't see water ingress or egress anywhere. It's only at that point there, which is now drying off. It's just left a little bit of staining. So I'm kind of thinking, go with it. Cannot wait to see what you do with Mega. I can't wait either, so I'm definitely going to be rehoming some of these fish into Mega Tank. The Oscars are going in there, the Golden Som's going in there. Humphrey, probably not, but I have other ideas of what I'll put in with them. Humphrey and the pardon me, Humphrey and the Golden Som shared a tank for a couple of days. Well, I don't know how long it was actually, but I came down and the two of them were happily in the same tank. I don't know what it is about that tank on the left, but everything seems to want to leave it. So the Gold Som had jumped into Humphrey's tank and Humphrey did not kill it. While I was in here watching it, I was in here for a good half an hour before I noticed that fish was still in there, and I just kind of had to do a double take and go, Humphrey, there's a fish next to you. They were both kind of looking at me like, you going to feed us or what? I'd been like working on one of the other tanks. He did chase it as soon as I went, oh, what's going on here? He did chase it incessantly, so I got him back out and put him into his own tank, but he did not kill it. Anything else, including my own body parts that I try and put in the tank, just attack. He was quite happy with that, so it got me thinking, maybe he's not the ruthless killer we all thought. Who knows? So I'm going to get the Oscars in there, the gold Som in there. I'm not committing to anything else because I don't want to. I'm not committing to anything else because I don't know, basically. I don't want to commit to something and then change my mind and everyone go, oh, you said you were going to get stingrays. I want you to get stingrays. I don't know that I want to get stingrays. I don't want to get arowanas, but I want to get Chimensis bass or all those fish I want. Yes, I just don't know that I want to commit to that because I don't want to chop and change. I want that to be a long-term project. It's my big mega tank where I keep mega fish and I'm mega happy. It's not today. We're keeping this in here. We might add to it over the years, but it's not something I'm going to say, right, this we're going to keep Oscars in it for 6 months and then get rid of the Oscars, and then now we're going to keep this in it. It's going to be a lifetime tank. Do you have any plans for the 2 Discus tanks once they move to the display? Yes. Well, yes, I have plans, as in we will be getting other things in there. Other projects, let's put it that way. They're kind of ideal breeding / grow out tanks. I do have a whole bunch of Discus, so we will see whether we can get some of them to pair off and start some breeding projects. It's been 5-6 years since I've bred any Discus, so it might be fun to have a go at that again. Or it might just be fun to have a go at any other generic breeding projects. I haven't committed to anything, I haven't settled on anything, don't know which we're going to go for. It's something like that. What do you feed your pea puffers? Any easy way to get out all the empty snail shells? So I do feed them baby ramshorn snails, baby, not even baby, but just small Malaysian trumpet snails. They obviously don't eat the shells themselves, they just eat the meat. I don't really take the shells out, I just leave them there. Sometimes when I'm doing a water change I will suck up a few of them, but I'm happy to just leave them there. It kind of adds to the ambiance. I feed them white worms, I feed them cyclops, baby brine shrimp, bloodworms. I try and mix it up as much as I can, but yeah, that kind of thing. But I don't spend all that much time trying to get things out. Fixed fish. Humphrey will behave differently in a larger tank. He probably will, yeah. It was my original intention, because I had, as I was moving house and stuff, Humphrey spent a long time in tanks that were a bit too small for him, was to get him into mega tank and give him a good 6 months in there just to stretch his fins, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. I'm open to options. It's very much an experiment. Everything's an experiment. Right, I'll show you the Oscars now because I want to feed them. Excuse my unprofessionalism. So I don't know if you can tell because the reflection's quite terrible in this tank, but they've put on a fair bit of size, which will surprise no one. Oh, call the media, Oscars put on size quickly. But as well as putting on size, patterning's coming in a lot more. They seem quite pale today. I don't know if that's because I'm in here annoying them, but they've been a lot darker than this. But so far, 100% recommend working with Oscars. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. So, for those of you who are new here, pea puffers, rainbow fish, Sterbai corridoras, Discus. I'm trying to remember the name of the Discus. Martin Discus. Puncher's Discus. Oscars. More rainbow fish. More rainbow fish. Baby rainbow fish. Angels. Subscriber tank with all manner of tetras. Humphrey. Golden Som. Mega tank. Zebra Danios. Cherry shrimp. Some kind of endler, I've now forgotten. El Tigre endlers. Jade shrimp. Queen Arabesque pleco. Blue neon gobies. And lampai things that I can never remember the name of. Not killifish. What do you want to see next? In fact, we've got half an hour left. Any final questions? Because there was anything else I said I was going to talk about. Oh yeah, the Discus tank. So, I'm obviously trying to... The Discus that you see over there, or you saw over there, they'll be going up into my display tank. It's obviously got a cracked bottom. We talked about this. A cracked bottom. We talked about this the last couple of weeks. I finally figured out what it was that cracked the bottom. I'm going to take the lazy man approach to fixing it. I'm not going to take out the cracked glass. I'm just going to put acrylic on top of the cracked glass and seal it in place. I'm extremely hesitant to recommend this option because it's not a proper job. I should get it out. I think for me, getting it out is going to cause me more problems. Now that I know why it cracked, I know that it's not going to happen again because the base is supported correctly, and it's a technique I've used over and over again, even on the side of tanks. If it was the side of the tanks, I'd be more hesitant, but because it's the bottom of the tank, it's going to be covered up with substrate. It will be an even distribution of pressure. I know it's got double skinned underneath that as well. It's going to be absolutely fine. So my plan is, I've got a piece of acrylic cut to size. I'm going to silicone that in place, weigh it down, let it set and cure it properly, seal it in again, and then we should be good to go. And then get the discs up. What I want to do is, I'm swithering on I'm swithering on what type of aquascape I want. Whether I want more of a... So the subscriber tank that I showed you there, now it's more of a hardscape tank. And I really quite like that look. It's not black water, but it's darker water because I put in lots of fresh wood. And I don't mind that. I think it's quite a nice look. I'm not saying I'm going to go for that because it's an acquired taste. And with such brightly coloured fish. I like it with the iridescence of the Congo tetras and things like that, but with such brightly coloured fish, I don't know if it will work quite as well. But I'm hoping that I get a good aquascape. So what I'm swithering with is I try and do something gimmicky with it. Like, I followed George Farmer's aquascaping handbook to make my aquascape, or I bought a Discus collection of plants from eBay and made this, or just do it. I was going to say just do it my way, but I don't think that's even just doing it my way. I don't think my way is any better than those ways, because quite often my way is, these are all the plants I have, watch me randomly put them in a way that I think looks nice and no one agrees with. So I definitely want to have some nice statement rocks, some nice statement pieces of wood, some nice planting. I don't think I want to go with carpet plants. I want to go with a nice light coloured bottom. I don't think I want to do a background because it's just got a black background on at the moment. I quite like that. I'll leave that alone. It didn't cause me any peppering problems in the old house when I had it running before, so that should be fine. I don't know whether I want to phone up MD Fish Tanks or George Farmer and say, how much would you charge to come around and escape my tank? Or any kind of option in between. I'm just not sure. So is there anything anyone would particularly like to see when I start up my Discus tank? I've had a lot of requests to do sump videos. So can you show us you setting your sump up? Because I've never seen a sump on a freshwater tank. Spoiler alert, it's very similar to a marine tank. You just don't have salt in the water. A few people want to know how the pipework works and all that kind of thing. So, any interest in any specific things? It's got an aquarium garden style discus collections. Yes, that is one of the things I have been hovering over the buy button on that. The reason I've not gone for that is because part of that collection is obviously carpeting plants. I'm not a huge fan of carpeting plants, or should I be honest and say I'm not hugely successful with carpeting plants, so I'm not sure that would work. But yeah, that's what I mean about the more gimmicky thing, where it's just you pay your money, you take your chances, what this end, see if it works, see if I can make that look good, and that's the bit that I thought that would work quite well. But still, it's like, I think for a 5-foot tank worth of plants it's like 80 quid. It's not that unreasonable. I'm just going to go and feed it a few more things before this starts to smell. Anything else anyone wants to see for the last 20 minutes? Oh dear. Would you like some more snakeheads? I would love some more snakeheads. I need to give myself a little bit of mourning or grief period to go over the loss of my existing snakeheads. I don't want to be that guy that just goes, these fish keep dying and I just keep buying more, and you're not learning your lessons. You really need to run CO2 for successful carpeting plants, for most of them, yeah, indeed. And I'm happy to run CO2, I do have a massive tank of CO2 ready to go. I was watching another video recently, an MD Fish Tanks video, where he had paid for like kind of what we would call a mid-tier light. I forget the name of it now. But yeah, I'm happy to do some investment. If you don't know how YouTube works, I get paid for making these videos. Not a lot, I make like 100 quid, a couple hundred quid every month. So I've been saving that up to pay for these little projects, so having to do that. Your Oscar's a bit feisty. Yes, he's showing off a little bit, isn't he? I've got the new glass for the bottom of my 125. I did remove the bottom panel of glass. It's a bit messy, but it had already been patched up. Yeah, I'm part lazy, part practical, because I've done it before. I'm going to have to go on to the last beer. Final beer for the evening, one we've had before on the channel, Franny Cranny. And the reason that I say part practical rather than full practical or full lazy, it smells good. My bartending skills aren't doing me any favours on this one. Big old head. So this is Franzi Kahner Weissbier. No minging audible smell? No minging, what's the word I'm looking for? Not audible. For that colour, that's what we want. So the reason I'm saying it's not just laziness ability. The glass is cracked but still in place. It was previously caused by someone wrapping a cord around the stand and putting a bevel in it. So now it's back to being flat again. It's actually flat and level. If I start to take the glass out, it's going to be so much more of a chore to make sure I get every single last piece of glass out, because I've had the new panel cut exactly to size, and anything that I miss is going to put a level of inaccuracy back into it again, whereas I know it's now completely flat again, so I can just lay on top of it. I'll put beads and lines of silicone and weigh it down so it makes sure that it stays that way. But if I tried to take it all out and then just missed one little bit, I'm opening that door again to more pressure points coming back into play and cracking it again. So it's not just because I'm a lazy git. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I can give you some red Asiatica if you like. Oh, that's very nice of you. Are they massive ones or are they normal sized ones? I can never remember. My China knowledge, even after researching them for so long, is not brilliant. Ooh, purdy. Yeah, I mean, I'm still fascinated by snakeheads. I think they're fantastic. I'm just not very good at keeping them alive. So maybe with the new tanks that I build, I'll build ones that have some like proper heavy escape-proof lids. Chihirius, that's the ones. WRGB2s, yes. I want snakeheads, but I'm worried. Yeah, they will jump out. If you give them half a chance, even if you give them no chance, they'll still try. It's already been patched up in 2 places, so I just took it out to be on the safe side. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking it out. If you're meticulous and you get it right, go for it. I just know I'm not meticulous and often don't get things right. That makes sense. I'm glad it makes sense to more people and not just me. But I can't wait. It's been almost to the day, it's a year since I've been in this new house. And I've not had that tank up and running for that length of time. So the new floor's down. That's the thing we're waiting on most of all. But the new floor's in, the new wooden floor on top of the floor is in. Get the tank back in place. Get the fish in. I think it's just going to set off that room just lovely. Just lovely. So, any final questions for the last 10-15 minutes? Get them in now, otherwise I'm just going to sit here and drink my last beer of the evening. Since I seem to have lost the other one. If you want to see any of the other fish, let me know. Happy to show you some others. In the absence of anyone asking for any more, I'll put them back on the Discus. So on your left, that's your Martin Ung fish, and on your right is the punctured Discus. So punctured's it's a person, Steve Punctured, a UK breeder who developed his own strains over the years. So Martin Ung, you might know if you're into your Discus, because they're obviously a Malaysian breeder who ships worldwide. Steve Punctured isn't, and you will probably only see these fish in the UK. But you'll see the same sort of strain in different Asian breeders. Will all have versions of that same strain. My Queen Arabesque is now out and about. I just know that if I try and get the camera back out on her, I'll say her because we were just talking about Queen. But it, them, they, it. I know she's going to go flying back in again. Such intricate patterns though. Right, so that's what we've got. Last 10 minutes then. Well, tell me what you're doing over the weekend. What's your big plans? Anyone got any fish clubs, societies, auctions that they're planning on going for the weekend? My weekend is going to be fixing things, DIY, planning aquascapes probably. Welsh Week says, can't wait to get a Discus set up, but it's going to be a while, I think, due to deciding to wait to upgrade the larger tank. We'll set up, pardon me, a bold hardscape with lots of rummies, cories and Discus. Rummy nose tetras definitely do well on the Discus tank and give it a fantastic... They're one of my favourite tetras for shoaling. They do really tight groups and stick to them, which looks impressive in a larger tank. I do think small fish in a large tank always is a winner, because it just kind of it sets it off. That was one of the things I seriously thought about doing with Mega Tank, was making it a tank for lots of groups of small fish. But it was just the cost. The cost got me, because I didn't want to have 100 rummy nose tetras. I wanted 1,000 rummy nose tetras, and even at wholesale prices, you're getting on there. And even 1,000 rummy nose tetras in a tank that size, they're still going to look a bit lost. So you're going to have something else in there as well. But one day, you never know. One day. Taking the wife to Tenby this weekend. Oh, you! What excitement! This is the first weekend in a while I haven't had to go anywhere, so I'm quite looking forward to just staying at home. Barter buttering her up for the larger tank. It's the one thing about Missy's Adventure, she doesn't take all that much buttering up for the fish tanks, because she knows I will just look after them all. It doesn't really make a difference to her. The only thing that takes buttering up is the energy cost of running said tanks. I've already been getting big raised eyebrows about you. So with the energy crisis, you've decided you're going to run a massive fish tank. So we're going to be getting goldfish for this big mega tank. So we don't need to put some heated... Well, mind you, the room itself, we're sitting just on 25 degrees. So this water will get up to 25 degrees soon. The water's not quite there yet, but it will get there pretty soon. Right, come on, let's have a final push and see if we can get the viewers and likes ratio on par. Oh, well done everyone. Just as I said that. 46 viewers, 46 likes. Let's see if we can get it above that in the last 10 minutes. I'm relying on you now, because I've run out of things to tell you about and things that we're doing. So if you don't give me any questions, I'm just going to sit here and drink. Do some admin while we're talking about it though. Obviously there is the Discord channel if you want to join and have some more fishy content through the week. It doesn't have to be tonight or any other time. You can join, you can ask your fishy questions, you can share your fishy posts, you can buy, sell, swap stuff that you've got. All kinds of things going on in Discord. You want to suggest some beers for next week? Tell us what you're drinking. Discord is the place to be. A very friendly, welcoming community we've got there. As Scott has just reminded me in the admin chat, themed beers. Yes, we'll do that next week, Scott. It's a good idea that I had. As well as Discord, I do have Instagram, I do have Twitter, I do have TikTok. I very infrequently post to those places, but by all means go and follow me there. If there is a demand for it, I'm sure I'll post more on it. I'm thinking of starting doing more shorts on YouTube, which can be done as TikToks. I don't have time for a lot of things. That's my biggest problem, is I run out of time to do things. I struggle to get a video a week. The live stream's pretty easy because I can just turn up, as I often do, without any planning or preparation, and just waffle on about nonsense for a couple of hours. But where was I going with this? The YouTube shorts and the TikToks, I'm thinking of starting to use them more for like outtakes and snippets. So I used to do this on all my videos, where kind of like, if you ever seen Michael's Fish Rooms videos, I used to do that as well, ages and ages ago. Not saying he got the idea from me or anything, but I used to do all my outtakes at the end of me just cocking up words or inability to say things, getting angry with myself and smashing stuff. So I'm thinking of using my shorts channel or TikTok to put like kind of outtake reels in there, as well as things that don't warrant a full video. So things like right now I'm watching my angels kick the shit out of each other again. So that might be quite a good thing, just to come in if I happen to catch it and get my phone out in time and go, look what they're doing. This is breeding behaviour, because one of them is trying to clean a leaf to lay eggs on it, and the other one really doesn't want it to do that. It's not a whole video, but it's interesting. So that kind of thing. Is that a good idea? Bad idea? Who knows? So you might see more content like that. You might see more content about just like generic little, oh, I'm going to feed Humphrey, this is a new food, I wonder if we'll like it, that kind of thing. We'll be trying all that kind of stuff out. Still into ideas about collabs that you might like to see, whether it's getting guests on to participate in Weird Beer Week rather than just talk about all things fishy. I'd really like to get into, there's some things that I just don't get, or I struggle with. So like deep scientific stuff. I was trying to read about Corydoras and self-poisoning, and I was like trying to force myself to read some scientific papers. I just couldn't do it, and it's just like a mindset thing. Whereas if I watch a video about someone talking about it, or if I talk to someone about it, it seems to stick into my head a little bit more. So I was wondering if I could get some topics that are just a bit, not hard to discuss, but are just a bit full on, and get some knowledgeable guests and see if, like, educate Graham, if I can understand it, anyone can, type of thing, where I sit and quiz them about this and go, what does that all mean? And then we have like half focused on the thing that they're knowledgeable and clever about, and half talking about in general where the hobby's going, what they like to do, just find out a bit more about people. Just some ideas floating around in my head. Slender blobfish. If you want 1,000 small fish, just buy a guppy. You'll have 100,000 in no time. Yeah, not 1,000 guppies though. That's not where I was going with that. I have a large shoal of rummy nose. They give a great display and a great indicator of water quality, and indeed, because you get to see their rummy nosiness go down a little bit. Have you used your 3D printer to do any fish related items? I have, and I do have some more planned. So I'm trying to design like a feeding ring with my logo. Oh god, I'm not even wearing my logo. So like that, like a discus outline as a feeding ring, because I have a lot of duckweed. But I've also made things like, this is my fill line. So this is all 3D printed. So it's like a float valve. You hook this bit over the tank, you hook this up to your water, and then when it fills up it stops the water coming out. So I've done a few things and a few bits like that. I do apologise, Mrs. Welshweeks. You didn't mean anything by it. Radders! Thanks for all the great videos. I'm worse than you with more tanks. Oh, not sure that's a record you want. When you're planning an aquascape, do you take into account things you already have, plan to use different materials than you have already used? Good question. And the answer is both. Often, so most of the attempts at aquascaping that I've done in the past, most of them have been done with a very clear theme in mind. So when I've done things like the river aquascape, it's been, right, I'm going to go and find what I can find by the river, make sure it's clean and sterile and all that kind of stuff, and use that. Or it's going to be, I just want to create a river style aquarium using the equipment and the aquatape and stuff that I've already got. I don't know if you can see down here, but basically I've got these bins that live underneath all the tanks, and they're full of rocks, wood, different types of wood, different types of rock, sand, pebbles, stones, gravel, all different things that I've collected over the years that I can use to then prepare for things. So 9 times out of 10, unless it's like I'm going to build a river aquascape and find what I can find at the local river type thing, 9 times out of 10 I'll use stuff that I've already got. But for big projects like my Discus display tank, I might use stuff I've already got, but I'm also completely open to going and buying a new stuff, a new set of rocks, or a different type of wood, or a different, yeah. So a bit of both. A bit of both is the answer. Ross says, thank you for another entertaining evening. Thank you for sticking around, everyone. So we've reached that time of the evening where it's time for me to say goodnight. If you have enjoyed this kind of thing, please consider clicking subscribe. If you want to keep it going, there's a Discord server. You can find the link in the description below if someone hasn't already posted it in chat. Go and join the Discord, say hello, introduce yourself. If you want to keep the fishy journey going, Cold Water Aquatics is probably streaming right now. Go across there and say, Graham sent me from Aquarium Adventures. Hello. Please go and subscribe to Aquarium Adventures as well. You don't have to say that last bit, but you know, it's all good stuff. But most of all, thank you for joining me here, and the next time you see a video, if you've clicked subscribe, go and watch it. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's what it's all about. Bye!